Nobody reads party chat. Nobody reads. I need to say the second part. Just nobody reads.
Can't make any assumptions these days. Least of all whether or not someone is literate.
Yeah. My snack of choice, I have what I consider a classic, which is good old sour cream and onion chips.
Nice. Those were never my favorite, but you can't go wrong with them.
Nope.
Much more of a salt and vinegar or barbecue.
I like both. I'm not a huge fan of barbecue. There's just something about artificial barbecue flavor that's really off-putting to me, but that's Kelsey's favorite flavor.
So I agree with that. But for that reason, my go-to barbecue chip is the Cape Cod, like mesquite barbecue.
Oh, that's fair. Cape Cod always does their flavors really well. I love their salt and vinegar.
One of my other favorite flavors of, like, you know, I only ever see this in kettle chips really, but like just like a salt and pepper kettle chip.
Oh, salt and black pepper.
Yep, I love that.
Yeah, same.
I just love black pepper in general.
Me too. Oh, yeah, I can see why the healer wasn't being anything I said. They just proceeded to stand in a puddle of electricity until they died.
Oh. As you do, of course.
Yeah.
All right, hanging Chadwick and photograph. It's coming together.
Good.
Coming together early here.
Luckily, the healer was entirely unnecessary because my most powerful Inkbuster is a targeted shield that I can give to my target.
You mean your tank cooldown?
Very dangerous. Yeah, I can talk. Very dangerous. My tank cooldown, I'm sorry. Yeah. It's a shield that shields for 25% of my max HP.
Oh, you're
Nice.
playing Dark Knight.
I'm indeed playing Dark Knight.
Have you thought about playing Warrior?
Yes, but I was very proud of my Dark Knight. I'll be using it. I guess the healer was also just kind of standing at the entrance to the dungeon until the boss was dead. Interesting. Stop running, you idiot! I can pull things off you if you run. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. You can break things through me, or you can die. It's your choice. I'm still honestly impressed that that group Kiwi put together failed Athena's DPS check. I didn't even know you could.
Someone tried to say that's not what's happening, and I was like, well, what the fuck else was happening? Only a healer was dead. It's definitely the DPS check.
It was indeed the DPS check. Here, this might seem like a random question, but if you could pick one thing for Guild Wars to have more of, what would it be?
Good raids, not half-assed raids. Good raids. So it's a very important distinction that needs to be made there.
Okay, well, there's Kelsey's answer.
The real shame with this question is that nearly 12 years of playing the game means there are multiple well-qualified answers.
Well, don't we find out what the quote-unquote thing we've been waiting on for 5+ years is tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. I mean...
Oh, are they announcing the new expansion or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Janthier Wilds or something.
Yeah.
Not Wilds of Janthier, which is kind of weird that they didn't go that route. Like, come on.
But they just called it Janthier Wilds?
That's what it seems like it's going to be, yeah.
Yeah, there's already logos and everything popping up on the website and stuff ahead of the thing tomorrow.
Okay, that's not even good enough to be a patch name. Which aren't their expansions basically just glorified patches at this point?
Kind of, yeah.
They said they learned. I don't know how true that is, but...
Oh, it's that classic, like, we hear you. We're listening to your feedback.
No, they flat out said, hey, we tried to do too much and quality suffered. They didn't even mention people telling them that. They're just like, yeah, it sucked. So I'm hoping that something was learned from it.
I mean, it'll only be to their detriment, and I guess to everyone who enjoys the game, if they didn't.
Yep.
Or are they increasing a new continent, or are they doing like a wild card?
It is a place that has stuff already. Like its core, like it's a place in Tyria.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the obvious answer, I would agree, is just more
Instance player content.
Yeah. More good instance player content.
I mean, that's my answer too.
More raids, more fractals that don't suck. Meaning not either of the two newest ones. Right, I shouldn't even comment on the one that just came out. I haven't played it, but I've heard the same horror stories as the last one.
Fractals are a really
they're a lot of fun. I legitimately enjoy doing them.
Like, I have a few favorites. I really like remember the one with the Colossus thing, the hammer.
Oh yeah, Cliffside.
Yeah, Cliffside. I really like that one.
Yeah, Cliffside's fun. It's the original iteration of Cliffside kind of sucked because it was long and you could like brick the encounter if you lost the hammer at some points.
I really enjoyed the one where you played like the sun's chosen or whatever, and like sacking the city for Shoko.
Mm-hmm.
So-
It's been so long.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
You're talking about the fractal?
Yeah. It's like the last one we did together where you fight the priestess who like channels the gods.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about.
Twilight Oasis.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the part in the middle where you got to run around and like jump onto stuff. I don't enjoy that as much. But
kill the four like same mobs.
Yeah, that part's not as fun. But
the final boss is really good.
Yeah, the set pieces in that fractal are really good.
They are.
Honestly, some of my favorites are still like some of the original ones. Uncategorized, Snowblind.
Okay, Snowblind's fun. I actually really like Snowblind. Snowblind's really interesting.
I actually like Jade Maw because I can shut my brain off. Or Solid Ocean, I should say.
What's the one that everyone really hates? Like the water aquatic. Yeah.
Siren's. Oh no, Aquatic. Yeah, Siren's Reef sucks too.
Everybody hates Siren's Reef too.
There's very little redeeming about Siren's Reef. It's not my least favorite, but actually, no, it probably is. That and the last new one that I played. With the fucking pointless like ziplining everywhere where the fuck it is. So dumb. Just put me where I need to be and let me run to the boss. I don't need to play 20 minutes of Super Adventure Box before I fight something.
Lucy told me he did Harvest Temple CM the other night. He said it was a lot of fun. I said, that fight just kind of looks really miserable to me. Because I don't even like the normal mode of Harvest.
Yeah, I've done the normal mode once.
It's so long.
Yeah, that's why I don't really like it.
It feels so like artificially padded out.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, like
And that's just been their design philosophy because instead of figuring out how to balance their game and squish numbers in other places, they're just embracing the power creep and not doing the math that they need to be doing.
It's just making everything like just damage sponge and time sink.
Yep.
Cool. That.
yeah, like
I'm gonna have diminishing returns.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, like most of my favorite raid bosses are the longer ones. Doom, Q1.
Well, those. So I feel like those
Deimos is fun.
are good.
Phases, though.
Yeah, the phases are all distinct, and the fight doesn't feel like it's slogs.
I mean,
Those have distinct mini phases in between them.
Harvest Temple is phases too.
But
they're
every single one is it just feels exactly.
well, yeah, that was what I was gonna say next.
Yeah.
That they're all kind of just indistinguishable from one another.
They're all the same, and they all take too long for the amount of stuff that's in them, especially for just a normal mode. Temple.
Yep.
I drew a straight flush. What the hell?
But yeah, like ultimates in this game take like 20 minutes, but you're literally fighting 3 different bosses one after another. Sometimes 4 different bosses. It's just literally a boss gauntlet, but I don't know, I guess like you could make the argument that Harvest Temple is where you're fighting different bosses, but it's none of the dragons feel like they have distinct enough mechanics. They all just like do an AoE, and you just stand to the side and don't move until you have to move.
Yeah.
And it's sad because like the concept of it, like the idea of the fight is really neat. Like you're fighting the maddened combined souls of all of the dragons. But that should be really cool.
Yeah, it should be.
But it's not.
And you know, it's a visually impressive encounter. But
It is. It's absolutely a visually impressive encounter.
and I think they did a good job on like the lore side of like the mob design and all that. Like
I agree.
it just it feels like a Destiny raid boss. And I don't mean that in a good way.
I like Anka though. Anka's a fun strike.
Yeah.
It feels like you're chasing her through this facility as she's like trying to finish her work, so it feels like you're actually doing something. Unlike in Tiny Overlook, where it's just you're fighting a racist old man who's inexplicably really strong. And who's fighting you for racism, because of racism.
Hmm.
I don't know, Mr. Lee just felt like the obligatory, like threat from within, quote unquote, that like they felt like they needed to do, you know? They're like, oh, we gotta have some really xenophobic old guy who doesn't like outsiders be in the story. And he's gotta be a boss at some point. And that's like all.
Well, we have to defeat racism.
That's all you're going for.
I don't know. It's honestly a really big shame because I feel like they could have done more with what we were given, and then they
Yeah, they
didn't.
could have. I really liked the detective though. He was a fun character. I don't remember his name, but
Rama?
Yeah.
Rana, yeah. He was fun.
Like literally just the Hindu god Rama.
Yeah.
I just refer to him as the Hat.
Hat Man.
Exactly. I simply refer to him as the Hat Man.
But he was kind of fun, except now that I think about it, wasn't he kind of just like dude Marjorie?
Kind of.
I don't really remember any of the other characters besides. I didn't. wasn't there like the sister of the Empress or whatever that like was the one who was experimenting on Stu-Wan?
I forget her name, but yeah.
I do too.
One million chips.
1,000,000. I don't know. It just feels like their storytelling's been getting progressively worse.
Oh, it has been.
Well, they wrote their laurels for too long on how like they have the greatest storytelling in MMOs, and then they didn't.
Yeah, they don't.
It stagnated. So
That title squarely belongs to Final Fantasy at the moment.
well, Guild Wars story used to be really good.
It did.
Yeah, it was.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed a lot of like the Living World. In fact, I think I enjoyed the Living World seasons more than like the main expansion stories. Path of Fire's been okay so far.
I still think that other than one story beat in particular, I think that Living World 4 is the best story they've ever done.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Living World 4. Which story beat for you?
Aurene dies and immediately comes back.
Oh, yeah.
That was just so fucking ham-fisted.
That was the downfall, in my opinion. That was we don't really know what to do with this, and we kind of wrote ourselves into a corner.
The beginning of the end.
That one outed them as cowards.
That they don't have the balls to actually kill one of their characters.
No, not an important character.
Which is hilarious because they built Traherne up to be so important and they fucking killed him.
They killed Traherne because people hated him, because they went the WoW route of telling stories.
You aren't the main character.
Did people hate Air? Or I guess no one really
No. People didn't.
No. No one cared about Air, because only the Norm players cared about Air because they didn't do a good job of exposing her, and they just wanted to kill somebody to prove that they could do it.
Yeah, like
To show that they
which
meant
explains,
business.
which absolutely explains why Dave from accounting was the one who killed her.
the problem is that they don't do a good enough job in like the level 30 and up story of explaining Destiny's Edge. They expect you to play the dungeons because that's where they put that story.
The dungeons that they abandoned, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very early on.
Don't mention it all. They couldn't figure out a way to balance COF, so they're just like, fuck it.
I mean, yeah, that's one of the bigger offenders.
was the offender when I played like initially on launch.
Yeah, I mean, and Path 3 is still horrible, but nobody does that one.
All they had to do was put diminishing returns on doing dungeons and farming them, and it would have been fine.
Well, they did. They did the daily bonus.
Yeah, the bonus, but the rewards for doing it after that were still kind of wimpy. And then the fact that they never made any kind of dungeon queuing system also really hurt, because then you had to go open it, and you had to find people on your server, and then you had to have X, Y, and Z things.
You can tell they never really cared about dungeons.
They didn't really have a huge focus on instance content,
Yeah.
in general, but they had a really good, unique thing with dungeons, okay?
Mhm.
And then they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, like their idea of endgame during vanilla was definitely like the people who were like the hardcore gatekeeping types would just run a raw like all day every day, and
Right.
everyone else would just do like the world boss trains or like the ore temples.
Mhm.
Or tag everybody in world versus world zergs. That's the other easy way.
Yeah, that too. But that was also back during the days when you had to do world versus world for map completion. Which,
I know, it's a shame that, I mean, I guess they kind of have, because in a way, they went back and made, what's it called, a single player instance. That's a raw, right?
yeah, they made a raw story single player. You used to have to actually go into LFG and party up with people to do it. That's how I did it the first time.
Right.
And
Like in 14, they, in order to complete the Realm Reborn story, you just have to do these 2 absolute slog 8-player dungeons called Castor Meridianum and Praetorium. And they had unskippable cutscenes in them.
Oh, they were skippable back in the day.
Oh, that's right.
They were absolutely skippable.
That's right. They were skippable when I did it, because I remember
Everybody would skip it, and then by the time you got done watching the first cutscene, it'd be over, and you're like, what happened?
Yep. And the dungeon was just over, and nobody got to enjoy it, and everyone was like...
So then they made them unskippable, and then it took too long, and people complained about that. So now they're 4-man dungeons with reduced amount of cutscenes in them.
Yep. They completely reworked them and made them honestly pretty fun. And it's just a shame to, like, you know, the dev team for this game goes that far, and
Well, so
Arena
Guild
Dungeons-
Wars' thing is that they can't. So a lot of the old devs that were there when all this stuff happened, or was made, don't exist. Yeah, they're gone. So, and of course, I want you to think about their documentation. Absolutely lacking.
Yeah. That's fair. Still sucks, I guess. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, what can you do? Nothing. The answer is nothing.
Yeah. I wonder, are they gonna do more with the Cryptus, or are they gonna introduce a new MacGuffin?
Crypto story is over.
Oh, a new MacGuffin. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. We love MacGuffins.
You didn't bring that much cryptage.
And the burning question, does anyone give a shit about the Cryptus, or will they remember them after this expansion? Probably not.
I didn't give a shit about him the second I met him.
I thought it was cool, but I lost interest as soon as they were like, yeah, go do all these things.
And they're still in the process of going back and reworking a lot of the old dungeons to make them playable with like NPC party members for people who don't want to group up and would rather experience the story by themselves. And I can respect that.
It makes it easier to level alts too.
You know?
Definitely lost one glass card there. $600 million points. No shot.
Oh my god.
No shot. That's okay.
Didn't you guys say World versus World used to be necessary for something like legendary or something?
Map completion.
Oh, map completion.
Yeah. Tyria map completion. You had to do all 3 Borderlands and Eternal Battlegrounds.
That's gross.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to do it was just to, like, do your Borderlands whenever you had that color.
Right.
But, I don't know. I wasn't that patient, so I was a little more aggressive about it. Well, this run is going to be Jover here in Anti 12, but big win nonetheless.